guest this evening has starred in the films A Room with a View, Howard's End, and Mighty Aphrodite. And starting this Friday, you can see her in The Wings of the Dove. Please welcome Helena Bonham Carter.
I think I've chosen the most uncomfortable dress to wear on your show, but never mind.
Really? That's an incredible dress. Tell us about this dress.
Well, it's by Vivienne Westwood. I should, know better to wear, yet another corset in my off time since I get usually paid to do this.
I know. I was thinking in just about every movie that I've seen you do, that's my pal Andy. I'm sorry. Why don't usually?
I'm sorry to sneak up on you like that.
Yeah, that's right. Hello, Andy.
He could pounce at any time.
No, I just want to.
No, in just about a lot of the movies that I've seen you in, they're usually period films, and you're always wearing a corset and elaborate clothes. I don't think I've ever seen you just wearing.
Actually, there is a moment in this. Did you watch the film?
Yes, I did. I know what you're talking about.
Say this is a bit of a preview, so the corset comes off in this film. But yes, I do end up being in corset dramas, bit of a corset drama cliche, I think, a bit.
You call them corset dramas? Just anything where
yeah, corset flick, corset drama.
What are they like when you're really wearing a 19th or 18th century corset? What does it feel like?
It feels pretty much what I'm feeling like now. You feel a bit like a trussed turkey, I guess. It's sort of, but I sort of know now how to wear them on the whole. The thing is not to go for the vanity. Don't go for that extra inch in the morning because, they're not going to notice on camera if you're going to be, 1 inch.
Because I think the only time that I've really seen it was in Gone with the Wind. There's a scene where they're strapping Vivian Leigh into one, and they have to, like, she's holding onto the bedpost.
You don't go for that. You don't do that. You don't go for the sadistic thing.
I wear a truss on this show just to keep me looking very thin and trim and athletic.
Yes.
I'm about 100 pounds heavier than how I appear.
Well, I suppose that's. I'm glad that you're wearing it then.
I'm a big old slob,
But I suppose that has, they do help because at least you don't have to go for, put yourself under the scalpel. They will give you shape. And, but they are, after a bit, you get used to them. After a bit of sweating and after a few weeks, then your body gets used to it and it gets used to you.
That sounds horrible, though.
But sometimes they are pretty barbaric. But, actually less barbaric than plastic surgery, I guess. So, and they give you shape. I mean, I don't usually have these things.
You just are fascinated with what you're wearing tonight. I noticed you keep looking down and going, oh my God, look at this dress. It's amazing.
It is, well, yes, because I just put it on.
Is this metallic? I mean, is this hard?
You can touch.
May I touch?
You can touch. It is hard, isn't it?
It is hard, yeah. That's like a bulletproof vest you're wearing right now.
Absolutely.
They're going to start issuing these to the New York Police Department. They'll all be walking around with cleavage.
Yeah, they're great for cleavage producers. Anyway.
Have you ever been tempted, because so many of the movies, and I really do enjoy the movies that I really like this last movie too, but so many of the movies I've really enjoyed that you've done. Have you, and they're work with a lot of integrity. Have you ever been attempted to take the Big Bag of Cash movie? Have you ever been tempted to do a movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme where you're kickboxing or something like that?
It depends how much money I guess.
I'm talking if they said to you, we'll give you $50 million if you do a week's work with Steven Seagal.
Is he? Is he sort of like, that's my problem.
Yeah, exactly. Who's he? No, he's a very revered American star.
Right.
Who beats people up in his movies and wears a has a long ponytail, and for some reason there's always a Native American theme in the movie, which I've never understood.
I'd do it, wouldn't you, Andy?
Oh God, yes. I'd do it in 4 corsets.
Wait a minute! I didn't say you had to wear a corset in this movie, Andy. You want to wear a corset in this movie. But you would if Hollywood was calling?
For $50 million, yeah, I would do it. But for nothing less, I don't think.
Oh, really? You're holding out for $50 million?
I was offered a lot of money the other day for a film, and it took me about 2 days. Everyone else was telling me not to do it, but I did consider it. And but on the whole, while I can, as long as I get a good part, I'll only be as good as the part is and as good as the script. So I will. So I know that if I'm in something which I don't necessarily think is very good or a bit crap, I know I'll be crap. So then, you know, I'll
But
probably...
50 million.
But 50 million...
I'd be willing to be real crappy for $50 million.
I could...
I'd roll around in this stuff for $50 million.
What about like 5 million? I mean, that's a lot of money.
5 million too. Well, I'll get back to you on that one, I think.
All right.
Yeah.
See, because
My answer is yes again.
Yeah,
5 million.
Gee.
Andy and I are just holding out for the movie where we're both in with Steven Seagal.
And we're all wearing corsets.
And we're all wearing
As
corsets.
we all should.
Yeah. You've done so many intense dramas. And this movie, I mean, I have to say, this movie that you just did is very intense. And I was curious, and there are very parts of the movie that are very affecting, depressing even, and I was curious, does that depress you? Do you get drained ever when you're doing one of these movies?
A lot of people say, you know, do you take the character home with you? But I tend to have more difficulty getting into the character in the first place. So I know, also the strange thing is, with me, the more serious it is and the more tragic, then the more funny I find it.
That's crazy. That's a sign of craziness.
Oh, I think I have a fair amount of craziness in me. Let me think.
Really? I mean, what happens? If you're in a really intense scene, you actually find it funny?
I can find it very funny.
And what happens?
I start laughing. There's a scene which is quite serious at the end. In fact, it's the whole emotional, you know, climax of the whole film, and I started, you know, laughing then. I mean, I was completely nude, and I was, you know, doing something which I found faintly absurd.
I find when I'm completely nude, other people are laughing. Yeah. Generally the way it works.
Well, I sort of preempt it, you know, sort of defensive preempter, and I found it very funny. But
what did people think when there you are, you're completely nude, you're ready to do this intense scene, and you're just laughing and giggling?
Well, it's funny for about the first time it happens. It's not funny the second or the third.
Then they call a paramedic.
That's when they get, you know, a bit. Then it gets a bit sad, actually.
Yeah.
And but I found it funny. I had to take. Actually, it was unfortunate timing because I was taking down the trousers of my co-star at that point. And it had nothing to do with that. It was just absolutely nothing.
That's when you started laughing?
That is unfortunate.
How did that affect him?
You know, he was totally fine by it. But you know, anybody else, I think they'd probably be somewhat upset. But
yeah, I would find that very upsetting.
Very secure in his, you know, maleness. But anyway.
Well, good for him then. I did really enjoy The Wings of the Dove. And it really is also a beautifully shot movie. A lot of it's in Venice.
Lots in Venice.
It's
very
really
watery.
Yeah. It takes place around 1910. The costumes. It's a really beautifully made film, and that opens this Friday, the 7th. And real thrilled to meet you after all this time.
Thanks, babe.
Thanks very much. Hey, babe. All right. Helena Bonham Carter, everybody. Royal Crown Review is coming up. We'll be right back.